everybody, and welcome back to the Around the Country series. I am super pumped to be joined by Martin North. Martin runs some awesome accommodation out in Western Australia, and Western Australia has just had a snap 3-day lockdown happen. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bart. Great to be with you.
Awesome. Look, I'm so looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to speaking to you, hearing about your business, what you do, and the challenges that you're now facing. I will be honest with everybody, this is the second time we've done this. And one of the things that Martin said to me, one of our biggest fears is that we're going to go into another lockdown. So, Martin, before we get going, I know that you run the bnbcollection.com.au. You run the Quality Apartments Banksia Gardens as well. Tell us a little bit about your business, how many people you fit into your business, and how long you've been doing it.
Sure. Well, Bart, I guess we started with a hotel business, Quality Apartments Banksia Gardens, back in 2014. We acquired a fairly rundown apartment business in Albany, and over the past 7 years, we have transformed that property into probably the leading corporate hotel in the area. Approximately 2 years ago, we saw a demand growing for short-term accommodation management. A lot of sort of AirBNB operations and whatever. So we started off managing, I think it was 4 properties we took on originally, and we've grown that portfolio to 30. So a fairly steady growth over the past couple of years. We have about 70 apartments or rooms in our inventory across the board. And I have a staff of 17 led by a fantastic property manager called Christine, who's my right-hand person that looks after the day-to-day operation.
Yeah, well, so you've got some scale. You're not a huge business, but you're not tiny as well. You're kind of in a lucky space because you were in WA, which in terms of COVID and lockdowns was probably one of the best places to be in the entire world because you weren't facing those lockdowns that were kind of so unpredictable and happening all the time until now. So how about we just jump straight into it? What's going on? What's happened? Update everybody.
Sure. Well, look, it's been a fairly roller coaster ride since March last year. We had the initial lockdown, which affected everyone across the country in sort of April, May last year. We found we had like state borders in Western Australia where if you lived in Perth, you couldn't cross a border to travel to the southwest or the mid-north or the goldfields, etc. So once those borders were reopened back at the start of June last year, we had a huge demand on business, probably to the level I haven't seen before, massive demand. We're in the south coast of Western Australia, 400 kilometres south of Perth. So we're a coastal town. So once again, summer's very, very busy for us. Winter, often quieter. But we found last year we were fully booked, 100%. We did in July last year, and that was in the middle of winter. So there's a lot of...
This is all Aussie travellers, people that would have gone to Bali, that would have gone to Thailand, would have gone travelling. Now they've been looking for places that are closer to home. Is that right? You're
exactly right, Bart. The market is the one that likes to get in the car now, likes to travel, looking for isolation, but definitely a new market. And as you just alluded to correctly, it is a market that would probably have travelled overseas once. So we had to sort of, prepare our business for this new market, which was certainly different.
Okay, so you're busy, everything's looking pretty good. Okay, before we go into the lockdown stuff, then just tell me a bit about what this market looks like and what their expectations are.
Sure. Well, we've normally had 2 fairly distinct type markets. Our hotel business, service department business has been corporate, and probably, your leisure market has been an older market on the weekend. Our short-term property portfolio, definitely families, as we've got 2, 3, 4 bedroom houses. So, fairly distinct markets there. What the lockdown or the fact that people couldn't travel overseas, we've seen a lot younger market. So certainly, couples, in their 20s, even younger, looking for probably more of a luxury experience. We have a couple of luxury properties in our short-term portfolio that have been incredibly popular. Like, demand has been huge. So I guess that has been the biggest difference, and also educating that market how to make the most of the region.
And that's been a very interesting one. It's something that I've heard of a lot, is that the expectation for a lot of travelers may be a 5-star expectation or a 4.5-star expectation. However, a lot of the stock which is available, it just isn't that. It's not that kind of level of the market that exists. Have you guys? Is that what you found? I don't know what your properties are like, but are you renovating them? Are you trying to bring them up to a higher standard? Where does that sit?
Yeah, look, we're doing some renovations, but that's another story in itself. Trying to get people to renovate at the moment is very difficult. Look, what you just said was right. I mean, I guess our properties were as they were. They're certainly not luxury. They're in that 3 to 4-star standard. But I guess the market that we have had probably used to going to, once again, Bali, Thailand, overseas destinations where your value for money is probably a lot better. So I guess there certainly was that expectation of, 5-star, even people would, the phone calls that we had, late at night, people asking to have things delivered and things like that. Not saying it's a bad thing, but we certainly weren't prepared for it because it's something we haven't been through before.
And so, how do you, I mean, obviously you've got this market, you guys are busy and have been busy, which is awesome. The expectations have changed. So then there's kind of two sides of the expectations. One is that I see is around the experience. So sort of all the things that you're going to do once you're outside of your accommodation. And then you've got all the stuff which is inside the accommodation. So inside the accommodation, have you guys made any changes to sort of upgrade and to do things differently?
Yeah, all the things that we can do, like furnishings and stuff like that. But I think a lot to do with compliance, a lot to do with cleaning, a lot to do with standards. We've always been, very fastidious about cleaning and making sure that the product looks good. We have an executive housekeeper that goes around to ensure those standards are kept, but we've had to take that to a whole new level. And as you could imagine, having 3-4 bedroom houses that are being used constantly in a beachfront location has left its own challenges. So each individual guest that's coming in is expecting, certainly a very, very high level of cleaning. And we've had to make sure that we've been able to deliver.
Cleaning has changed. You've had to change all your kind of processes a bit to sort of tie that up, because you're also quite cognizant of the reviews and that guest experience sort of reflecting on your business, because now you've got, I guess, a tighter knit market, even though you've got more people coming and more to tap into. Everyone kind of talks and everyone knows each other and that sort of thing. In terms of the experience outside of the place, so activities, events, restaurants, local things to do, have you guys been tapping into those opportunities?
Oh, absolutely. We've got Bluff Knoll, which is probably about a 35-minute drive from our properties, and that is the largest sort of mountain peak in Western Australia, which has been incredibly popular with people wanting to climb it. I mean, the local businesses around Albany, local pubs, like restaurants, cafes, we've certainly worked very closely with them. They have also experienced a great upturn in business, and they've also struggled, for staffing as well, because once again, the issue that's really worried me, that it's fine to get this market, but once this market is here, we have to give a good experience. We want them to go away and say, gee, I've had a great time. And I guess the demand has put a lot of pressure onto every business to make sure that they can actually cope with it. Like, there's been days when I've walked down the street and there's lines up to get into the local coffee shop, etc., which is not good, but it's just because the market has been so strong.
Wow. So I guess the challenges aren't the challenge of making money at this particular moment, is making sure that you stay consistent with your brand and that you deliver a reasonable experience, because also you're looking at reviews and that sort of thing, testimonials and feedback, and just adjusting to this new particular market. So you guys are there, pretty busy. Then all of a sudden, April the 19th, 18th, the WA decides to, or doesn't decide, has to shut down for 3 days because of an outbreak of COVID. So we did our first interview probably maybe a day or 2 days before, and you were so optimistic. you were feeling good. Where are you at? How are you feeling?
Well, look, I think something I did speak to you about last time we spoke is that things have been great and we're really blessed and we're happy that things have been good. However, the thing that's worried us the most is a lockdown. And that's exactly what happened on Friday afternoon. We were heading into the Anzac long weekend, which is the penultimate weekend for the Great Southern region, which I'm a part of because we are the home of the Anzac, really. That's where most of the Anzac soldiers departed for the last time from Australia back in 1914. So we have a lot of Anzac history. So the weekend is huge. You have thousands and thousands of visitors from Perth coming down. Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, there's an announcement that there's a lockdown. People could only travel out of the Perth and Peel region up until midnight on the Friday, which meant phones go mad. There's a period of chaos for about 3 hours. You're basically refunding everything you've got on the book. You've got all your staffing organised. You've got everything ready. It just goes out the window. Now, I know I'm not the only person in the accommodation or hotel business to have this problem, but it is real chaos, and it's always something that we're trying to refine to make it easier. But, you know, the customer gets stressed, the staff have to deal with quite a lot, and so you end up with a fairly, you know, a very different weekend to what you're expecting. But one thing we have found in past lockdowns is that after you get over it, there's a bit of an upturn. So we're hoping to see that come back in May, hopefully.
Now, I'm going to ask a really pertinent question that I've been trying to talk to the community and all the communities that I'm in and say, hey, things can change at the drop of a hat. And it's really easy to get sort of quite complacent or whatever and go, oh, no, things will be fine. Or if you're like me, you just pretend that it couldn't possibly happen again. Because you don't want to live in fear. Now, because you've just done it again, are there any learnings? Is there anything you're like, I wish I'd thought of my cancellation policy beforehand? Or there's this little clause that we just could have tidied up a little bit better, or we could have had a secondary email address for everyone to do their cancellations to, or have a backup phone number, or have this thing. What can you share in terms of that massive rush in terms of what you did right and what you could improve for next time?
Look, all brilliant questions, Bart, and it's something that it's really been of the forefront of our mind this weekend. You've probably hit the nail on the head with the first one. Definitely have direct contact with your customers, such as a direct email address. So we've set up a generic email address. If there's a lockdown happens, please use the email address. A staff member will get back to you, as soon as we've received the information. It certainly saves the phones going crazy and it saves all the angst and whatever. There's two ways to think about this too, and speaking to some of my colleagues in the region over the weekend too. Do you refund? Do you offer credit? This is always a big one as well. We tended to do a bit of both this time. We tended to refund the people that definitely weren't going to come back, or they didn't want a credit. But the people that were happy to come back at another time, we've given them 12 months, which means obviously you keep that cash in your account and the impact isn't quite as bad. However, you do have to be very careful that you do have the space down the track in order for those customers to be able to use that credit.
Sure.
Oh, the other thing was, Bart, sorry, just very quickly as well, Facebook page. Get on the Facebook page. Tell your customers that we will be getting in touch with them, very, very shortly. Once again, that means you're on the front foot, not the back foot.
Did you send out a message to all your guests that were going to check in?
Look, basically a post. I mean, you don't have much time because you've only got about 10 minutes to get this all organised. So we did quite good in some areas, but you still had a lot of people calling, directly as well.
So ultimately, you're trying to avoid the phones running hot, and also to try to alleviate some stress for people that are trying to get through and cancel. So at that stage, do you just say, you know what, rather than talking to every single person at the same time, which is impossible, we're just going to see what comes through the door, if anything at all. And then you just send out an email just saying, hey guys, if you're coming, come. If you're not coming, we'll be in touch with you to discuss refunds, cancellations. Don't worry, we'll be in touch with you within the next week. Once we know more, because also we're still waiting on information. Did you have a process? Did you know? Did you pre-plan it? What happened?
That's exactly how it was. We also found it's probably best to get those rooms sort of out of your inventory fairly quickly if you know that people aren't coming, because we found that there was, believe it or not, some pickup from other areas that we weren't expecting. So do what you need to do to the customer, give them a credit, give them a refund, clear the inventory, make it available, lift all your restrictions, pick up whatever you can and sort of make the most of it. But we've got the situation at the moment where we're about to get an announcement from the Premier within the next 30 minutes, whether the lockdown's going to come off or whether there's going to be further restrictions this week. So we could very well be on again in another hour once people, realise what's going to happen.
So if I'm thinking here, another really useful thing, like if you could text everybody, if you had all their phone numbers, and you could just text them all, that would be the quickest way to get through to everyone. And then you just want to yes, no. Are you still coming? Yes, no, bang. And then you can just go and not have to spend an hour or two on the phone. And even if you can pick up 20, 30, 40% of people in that particular way, that's going to be far more effective than any email would be or any Facebook post if you can actually text them. Like that's, and no one would mind you texting them either.
No, I think people do want to hear from you. People want to be assured and feel confident that you're going to address their needs and that they're not going to be stuck with something. So yeah, absolutely, get on the front foot very quickly. Text is the best if you can do it quickly.
And I'll give everyone a tip. We were talking about this this morning. Is another thing that you can do, and this one's a freebie for you, Martin. What we quite often get fixated on is putting out a message. We always type it out. We always write some paragraphs of all this stuff. But when people are in this stage, and they've got that panic, they lose sight of you as a business owner and you as a person and your team and that sort of thing. It takes 2 minutes to record a video and upload it onto YouTube or onto Loom. And you could quite easily just get on a camera and just say, hey guys, this is what's happening. This is what we need to happen. Or if you want to cancel this, that, you can give them all the information. They can actually see it visually and then they know what to do. And once again, rather than making 100 phone calls, you can just send out this video to everybody, put it as a bit.ly URL in the email and to the text message, and you can get communicating really effectively with your guests and then really improve their experience and also potentially be more likely to actually hold on to those bookings because they know that people will trust you, that when something's gone wrong, you're really on the front foot, just getting in touch. Videos are very much underutilized in this space and it should be utilized more. People don't think of just using it on the go to communicate just like they would an email, but you can convey so much more if you've got your face there. What do you think?
Absolutely terrific idea. Absolutely. Thanks for that, Bart.
No worries. Look, okay, so look, I'm gonna need to finish up. Actually, I'm going to probably rephrase that. All right. Look, I think that you've already given us quite a lot, and I feel that this is actually a conversation that's a precursor to a further one down the track, Martin. I really appreciate you sharing with us what's kind of happening, what's going on as part of the Around the Country series. I think that what I really want to do is probably talk to you more and talk some more higher level stuff in the future, and some bits with more depth. What can we do as a community to support you? Would you like us to stay in touch with you? What can we do for you?
Oh, look, I think it's fantastic just to keep dialogue open. Let's keep talking. Let's keep sharing ideas. I think that's probably the most important thing. Like you've just given me a couple of great ideas today that I didn't think about. So I think if we all talk, we're all going to be able to, deal with these situations even better into the future. But also, once you're able to travel, we'd love to see you all in the great southern region of WA.
Yes, I'm packing my bags. I really am. Maybe not anymore. Crazy. I've got some people that I'm trying to get over from Perth to Melbourne, and it's all in the air as well. So who knows what will happen? But look, my heart goes out to you, mate. Like I hope it passes, and that it's not too detrimental, and that keep going and all that sort of stuff. Thanks again. We will speak soon and see you in the Facebook group, and have a fantastic rest of the day.
Terrific. Thanks. Lovely
Thank
talking
you.
to you, Bart.
Cheers.